Now, a year ago tonight, South Africa entered lockdown for the very first time. What a different world it was. A lot's happened since then, with the levels of lockdown changing to manage the COVID-19 infections and deaths. Currently, we are on lockdown level 1, but there are concerns now. There's a third wave that will hit just ahead of the Easter long weekend. Lockdown restrictions and measures are there to combat the virus, and it has led to nefarious activities as well, which we'll unpack. Black market alcohol and cigarette sales booming, as we know. PPE corruption rife and has been prevalent, as many are seeking to cash in on protective gear, the masks and the sanitizers through multiple illegal tenders. Let's take you around the country now. The state of South Africa this morning with COVID-19. My colleagues, Lindokuhle Xulu in Johannesburg, Ronald Masinda in Cape Town and Lethiwe Mdluli in Durban are all finding out how ordinary citizens are doing a year into lockdown. Joining us live from around the country this morning, Lindokuhle, let's start with you. You're in Johannesburg. Where do we find you and who are you speaking to?
Well, Gareth, I am in Johannesburg en route to Randburg taxi rank, but we're coming from the pre-taxi rank. This is, of course, one of the taxis that is ferrying people to work from those particular destinations. But one of the things we are trying to check here, Gareth, is that after 1 year since the lockdown began today, we are just trying to get a sense of how people have been faring in different industries, in different fields, and just ordinary South Africans. And if you speak about people that had been in the forefront of this particular pandemic as far as their operations are concerned, you're speaking about the taxi drivers themselves that had been operating for almost all of the lockdown, and because they are an important part in terms of making sure that people got to work, even those essential workers that were the only ones allowed during the alert level 1 of the lockdown. But I am joined by Ubaba Ndlovu, who is driving at the moment. We are just going to try and have this conversation with him as safe as we possibly can. Baba Gajeni, thank you so much for speaking to us. But just give us a sense. Uzokhumbula ukuthi today was the first day the lockdown began. But the time Ubaba Umongameli announced President ukuthi there was going to be a lockdown, what did you think about it? Did you think it was going to take this long, Baba Gajeni?
Ngicabanga ukuthi mhlawumbe ngaba into yeviki or amaviki amabili bese kuba sokuvulwa kahle. Kodwa manje ngendaba zokuthi lesifo thina besingasazi ukuthi siyingozi kanganani.
But yeah,
ngakho ke ngoba kuqhubeka nje i-lockdown yakhona sagcina sesibona nathi ngokufa kwabantu ukuthi lento serious.
And then nina nani sebenza, you were working futhi kusahamba ama essential workers, ngoba abantu abaningi abahamba, but some of ama challenges ebeninawo ekakhulukazi ngenani labantu ebenikwazi ukubathatha, including i-check in nakho konke bekufanele nik-adjust kukho. Just take us through that ukuthi ama challenges enani nawo kwakuyini nje.
Bekunzima mfowethu ngoba imoto ngiyibona ingaki bilayisha abantu abawu7 futhi imali bekadinyenza abantu abawu7 it's 105 rand. And besilayisha kabili ekuseni kanye ntambama. So bekuyi-challenge ukuthi imali bekade siyibeka incane and besebenza nje mahala phela thina ngoba uzohola ini, ayikho into ozoyihola ubeka 300, ayikho.
Babajeni ukakhuluma nangokuthi kukhona abanye especially ama-owner abathathelwa iy'moto ama-garage kuwama repossession kanje, inani lalabo bantu ababonile ababaningi nje erenkeni babe baningi yini kuleso sikhathi leso se-lockdown even namanje?
Ya imoto ziqala ukuthathwa manje ngoba kuvulwa nje manje ziqala ukuthathwa manje. Hayi baningi kakhulu abantu abasebethathele imoto manje. Ngisho nayizolo nje bekuthatha imoto lapha eBridge.
Omunye umuntu ongazi unokucabanga babugajeni ukuthi njengoba sekuvuliwe sekulevel 1 mhlawumbe sekungcono, but ukhulume nangokuhlakani ukuhlakanipha abantu esebakutholile ikakhulukazi ukuyusebenzisa amanye ama transport, but nje sichazele ngalokho osukubonile waku-observe wona babugajeni.
Hayi ngeke kusafana vele ngoba abantu sebahlakanipha sebekwazi ukuthi ba request ama-Uber, Taxify, mhlawumbe for abantu abawu4 uma be requesta bakhokha less than imali ye-taxi. So abantu sebahlakanipha abantu sebahlakaniphe lokhu bahlakaniphisile abantu.
Ngafushane nje babugajeni sesizophetha indaba yakho lokhu ukuthi kuney'nkulumo zokuthi njengoba siya ku-good Easter holidays kunalokhu ukuthi mhlampe kungaba ne-third wave lapha la kuzotholakala khona ukuthi mhlampe singabuyela kwezinye iy'ndawo zama-lockdown lezi esiyibonile. Leyo niyibona kanjani njengosomatekisi njengoba vele seniyithola ngaphansi kwengcindezi?
Hey, inzima leyo nto futhi ngoba mase sicabanga nje ukuvala kokuqala nje lokho ukuthi kuyobuya kusivelele futhi manje suke kube nzima ngoba thina sisebenza sihola ngabantu manje abantu babengayi emsebenzini kuyobuya kube nzima futhi kithi sobuya sebenze futhi mahala sesilayisha mhlawumbe yibona ama-7.
Okay, Babugajeni, thank you so much for Uti Kapu Nati. But essentially, Gareth, what Babugajeni is saying is that no one could have predicted that this lockdown would have lasted this long. He says that they also thought that it would be a week or two, but unfortunately it dragged on for very long. He says that one of the things that they've noticed also is that even under alert level 1, people have, developed some form of methods in trying to get to work because of the lockdown. They've learned some lessons, including using e-hailing as a group and all sorts of things. So he says that even as they are on level 1, things are not the same. But after a year of lockdown, there's certainly a pinch that they felt as taxi drivers, and they're saying that the third wave that people are speaking about potentially is something that would be quite detrimental for them, citing the fact that even yesterday there was another repossession of a taxi at the taxi rank. So it just goes to show just how affected they have been since the lockdown began a year ago.
And it's one of the big industries that I think was unable to prepare itself just because of the volume of people who need public transport in this country. Lindokuhle, thank you very much for the moment. If you just joined us, good morning. We're continuing our coverage, our special coverage of what is tonight, midnight tonight, South Africa being put into hard lockdown. We now take you down to Cape Town and see what the experience has been for one or two people down in Cape Town. Ronald Masinda, good morning to you. We find you down in the mother city. Who are you talking to and what's their experience been like?
Gareth, a very good morning to you from Bellville, where it's a business as usual for many taxi operators, vendors, as well as people going about their day, going to work and to school. Bellville is an area, Gareth, where a lot of people depend on to make a living. A lot of people are involved in selling of goods, but it's also an area where there's a lot of crime and such crimes that we reported on previously, taxi violence, which occurs here regularly, but also petty crimes like robberies and so forth. But these people, the security workers, they form an important role here, not only to ensure law and order, but also to ensure that people also abide by COVID-19 regulations. We are seeing them regularly sanitizing people and also ensuring that people who are walking past this point do have their mask on. I'm just going to ask this gentleman a quick question. Tata sabulele xesha lakho sicela uzazise and ngasicacisela ba kuqhubeka ntoni ngeli xesha niphangela ngalo. Ndizoyibamba ngokomtata.
Ya, siyabulela kakhulu. Namhlanje siyaqhubeka nasemekhaya. Siyasemekhaya abantu bakuthi ya bawulamela umthetho kakhulu. Ya baqhubeka nabo. Ya sabambisana nabo kakhulu. Enkosi.
Sisizogqiba unyaka since i-lockdown seyiqalile tata ngasichaphazela uba ikulantuke njani le lockdown bikuphathe njani butshilo eqaleni uba bukhe waphangela kwenye ikhampani ngokuphangelela enye.
Ya beke ndaphangela kwenye inkampani ya iphethe kakubi kakhulu le lockdown ndayeka ndibuye ndazongena kule inkampani ya ngomatshi ya nge-10 kamatshi ndabe ndiqhubeka nayo i-lockdown isiphethe kakubi kakhulu. Ya simane sisecha i-lockdown uba inobe ime njani emzimbeni wethu. Ya siqhubekile ke kodwa ke noko ngokumnyenyezi kakhulu siyancoma kakhulu.
Bani kamane ne tata?
Ndikumalibongo Nyobhala.
Alright, ndiyabulela Malibongo, sabulela tata ngexesha lakho. Malibongo, a security worker here, saying that he's been working here in Bellville since March. He had to switch jobs saying that he struggled to earn a living from his previous job that he was working on as a security worker. We're going to also try and speak to one of the vendors who works here. Tata siyabulela ixesha lakho kasicacisele uba lo nyaka since lockdown biseliqalile bikuphathe kanjani ngebusiness yakho.
Oh yeah. Yonke le nto eyenzekayo wona that it's been a difficult season with the COVID-19 because it's only happened when I was starting to do things on my own. I was trying when it was happening, I was recently just resigned from the work that I was doing, so I was trying to do things on my own. Unfortunately, we had to shut down for a couple of days, sitting at home, and that was a really difficult time because you only have to go outside when you want to buy food and the other things to refresh yourself. But we really had a good experience as well, how to live in life.
Thank you so much. Is it Putsia, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Putsia there reflecting, Gareth, on the life of starting a business, given that you also lost his job during the lockdown. And this is a story and a narrative that we've heard from many people here in Cape Town, people who are starting businesses, given that a lot of them are without jobs. I'll throw it back to you for now.
All right, Ronald Masinda in Cape Town, thank you very much indeed. While you are watching from wherever you are this morning, we're speaking to regular South Africans about the experience of lockdown over the last year. Tonight, midnight, will be a year since we went into lockdown. Apart from crossing to our reporters, we want to hear from you. You can tweet us at eNCA. Tell us about your experience. Also on our Facebook page, leave a comment at eNCA News. So we've taken you to Joburg, to Cape Town. Let's go down to the east coast now of Durban, where we find my colleague Lethiwe Mdluli. Lethiwe, morning to you. What has been the experience of people that you're speaking to?
Well, good morning, Gareth. Right now, I am in Umlazi, Mega City, where I'll be speaking to a vendor who was badly affected by the lockdown. We know that by this time last year, the lockdown was commencing at midnight. Most people lost their jobs and most people could not go anywhere they wanted as their activity was limited. When going to the shops, you only had to go to the shops to get essential foods and also to go to work if you were an essential worker. That affected a lot of businesses and many people lost their jobs, businesses closed down. And some of those people that were affected include the informal sector. And right now I'm joined by a street vendor who says he was badly affected. He had to shut his business down. His name is Ben Gwala. Mr. Gwala, ngicela ungichazele nje ukuthi since lockdown yayiqalile last year on this day, how were you affected wena as umuntu and also ibhizinisi lakho lathinteka kanjani?
Siphazamiseke kakhulu uma sithola i-short notice lokuthi uhulumeni uyalivala izwe njengabadayisi abadayisa la emgwaqweni njengoba kuyiyona ndlela esiphila ngayo esondla ngayo imindeni yethu nasemakhaya kulala kudliwe ngenxa yalo msebenzi lesiwenza la. So akuzange kube lula even namanje sisazama ukuphika ngesimo sokuthi sigcine silahlekelwa nama-customers ethu, abanye abantu balahlekelwa umsebenzi, abantu ade besixhasa njengoba sisebenza kanjena.
So ngicela ungitshele nje ukuthi personally ekhaya wawuphila kanjani njengoba ungenayo imali ibhizinisi lalivaliwe?
Bekunzima kakhulu ngoba manje uma ngabe umuntu osebenza kanjena efuna lovuka usuku nosuku uzozama ukuze uzokwazi ukuthi uthole isinkwa ingane zikwazi ukuthi zilale zidlile. If uhlele endlini yonke into yakho isekimile kube nzima kakhulu nje. Even namanje sisazama ukuphika akakabuyeleke esimeni esidala lesi indlela esisebenza ngayo.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Mr. Kwala.
Okay, ngiyabonga.
So bringing it back to the studio with you, Gareth, basically Mr. Kwala is just saying that they struggled very much and they are also still trying to get back because a lot of people were not able to come back to work and they lost their jobs, which meant that for them business has not been doing well.
It seems to be the theme all around the country, as I thank all of my colleagues scattered around the country at the moment. That is Lindokuhle Xulu in Johannesburg, Ronald Masinda in Cape Town, and we just heard from Lethiwe Mdluli down in Durban. We'll head back to them throughout the day. We'll continue to get a reaction from regular South Africans about what the experience of the past year has been.